Hey. Time for the Out of This World story from rSpace. 4 years of a marriage, and apparently anniversaries are just milestones for revealing who's really committed. Today on rSpace, the only surprise waiting for this cheater wasn't jewelry, it was the cold, hard paperwork that ended her marriage. Found out about wife's affair while getting anniversary gift. I got her a divorce and kicked her out instead. 4 years of marriage just went down the drain and I'm still in shock. I honestly never thought this kind of thing would happen to me. The worst part is that I found out about all of this while I was getting ready to spend a few thousand on a gift for her. Thinking about that just makes it hurt more when I remember what she did to me. My wife, Mary, and I have been married for close to 4 years now. We're just coming up on our 4th anniversary and I wanted to do something special for her. I mean, I loved her after all, and as far as I knew, she was a great wife. I wanted to show her that I appreciated her and still loved her as much as I did the day we got married. I already had the perfect gift idea in mind. It was a necklace Mary had shown me a few months ago. She came across it on the company's Instagram page and showed me the post. She gushed over the design and practically hammered the hint into my head. I took note of it and decided then and there that it would make a great anniversary gift. I wanted it to be a surprise, so just made an offhand comment about how expensive it was. It really was a bit pricey, but I didn't mind spending that much on an anniversary gift for her. I thought she was worth it at the time. The problem with my plan was that since it was a surprise, I couldn't ask her to send the post to me, or she'd know what was up immediately. So I just took a mental note of the account name and thought I'd be able to remember it so I could order it when I was alone. Naturally, it took me a while before I got around to it, and by then I completely forgot the account name. I knew the necklace wasn't going forever. Worst case scenario, I'd just have to ask Mary to send me the link. I wanted to avoid that if I could though, since I was planning to make it a surprise. The moment I asked her any questions about the necklace, she'd catch up on what I was going to do. So I had to figure it out myself. Luckily, I remembered that she'd saved the post on her Instagram. All I had to do was get on her phone and I could find it in her saved posts. Simple plan. She'd never find out and my surprise would be safe. And before anyone says I was snooping, we've always had an open phone policy. We both claimed to have nothing to hide and used each other's phones freely when we needed to. I was just trying to buy my wife an anniversary gift. Completely harmless. So, last weekend while she was in the shower, I looked for the post on her phone. I opened Instagram and went straight to her saved posts. The necklace post was there, but I didn't bother opening it. Something else caught my eye. She'd saved several posts of the same guy. He was shirtless and half naked in every photo. Each one was a thirst trap showing off the fact that this guy was ripped. I work out pretty regularly myself and my body isn't bad, but this guy had the type of abs you only get from living in the gym. At first, I tried to come up with excuses for her. Maybe he was some fitness influencer she followed. Maybe it was workout motivations for her. I wanted to have an innocent explanation for it so I could open the necklace post, get what I came for, and be done with it. But no reasonable explanation came. I knew I couldn't ignore it, or it would drive me crazy. I tapped on the guy's profile. He definitely wasn't a fitness influencer. Even worse, they followed each other. I had to sit and think for a while. Was he a friend of hers? He couldn't be. I didn't recognize his name or face. Even if he was, that wasn't a good excuse for her to be saving his thirst traps. Eventually, I checked their DMs. That's when it fell apart. The guy's name was Seth. They had been flirting with each other for weeks. The worst part was that Mary was the one who instigated it. She had messaged him first with a comment about how she appreciated the hard work he put into his body. It was overly thirsty, and I would have found it embarrassing if I wasn't devastated. He returned the same energy and they started flirting with each other from there. I wasn't able to go through everything because I could hear her finishing up in the shower, so I closed Instagram and put her phone back where I found it. I acted like everything was normal, but my discovery was on my mind for the rest of the day. I kept wondering how far they'd gone. Just flirting was bad enough, but I didn't know how I'd react if they'd ever met in person. Mary didn't realize anything was wrong. She was busy talking about something meaningless that one of her coworkers did. I just nodded and made comments without really listening. I felt like I didn't know her anymore. I watched her talk and I didn't feel like I was looking at my wife anymore. She was a stranger. Just the idea of her flirting with someone else was enough to make me want to end things, but I wanted to know everything. I needed to know how far she'd gone, so I waited. I got my next chance the day after that. She left her phone charging in the bedroom while she was in the kitchen. It wasn't the best opportunity, but I still took it. I didn't waste any time. I had my phone ready to take pictures and I went straight to her Instagram. I immediately documented all the thirst traps in her saved photos, then I moved into her DMs with him. I took pictures of the flirting that was going on there as well. I went through their conversation in more detail this time, documented everything as I went. They hadn't actually done anything together, but only because he was in another state. They clearly wanted to, though, because they were making very real plans to meet up. They'd actually been looking up flights and hotels together for when he came down to see her. I was planning an anniversary gift for her, and she was planning a getaway with some guy she met online. It made me sick. She and Seth sent photos to each other once in a while, and nudes on 2 occasions. I hesitated before I documented those, but I knew there was no point in being squeamish. Every bit of evidence helped me. I put her phone back once I had everything I needed. She walked in less than half a minute after that. I thought I was lucky to get away with it so closely, but I also wouldn't have cared if I was caught. I kind of wanted her to catch me. I was so mad that my hands were shaking, and that would have given me an excuse to vent the rage I was feeling. I wanted to shout at her, tell her I knew everything, and throw her phone into a wall. Instead, I just smiled at her and said what she was cooking smelled good. Living with her felt wrong after that. My marriage was dead already, but we were both pretending everything was normal. The only difference was that she didn't realize it was over. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. The financially stable husband, footing the bill and buying her expensive gifts, and the gym bro to fool around with. Every time I think about it, I get mad all over again. My hands are shaking while I'm typing this. I'm not going to beg or try to reason with her, and I'm definitely not getting her an anniversary gift while she's arranging hotel rooms with another man. I don't see her as my wife anymore. She's just someone I need to separate myself from as quickly and as cleanly as possible. I've already spoken to a lawyer, and I'm getting all my documents and finances in order. She's about to get an anniversary gift she'll never forget. Let's call this what it is. She didn't trip and fall into another man's DMs. She made a series of deliberate, escalating choices while you were planning something meaningful for your marriage. Saving thirst traps, initiating contact, flirting for weeks, exchanging nudes, and researching flights and hotels isn't confusion. And the open phone policy? That didn't betray her. It exposed her. People with nothing to hide don't panic about transparency. People planning hotel stays with a stranger do. Update. I never expected there to be such a divided feelings around my last post. I had a lot of comments telling me that I was jumping the gun. They insisted that no actual cheating had happened yet. I'm guessing these people have never heard of emotional cheating, which there was plenty of. Even if my lawyer said that was enough to count as infidelity in the eyes of the court. Apart from that, did they miss the part where I said they were arranging a meeting or that they'd exchanged nudes? I'd like to see their significant others do that and see if they would just wave it away as not being really cheating. My lawyer handled the paperwork and gave me some advice, which I followed to the letter. The paperwork was ready early, but I held off having her served right away. I wanted to save the surprise for a special occasion. When her anniversary came around, I acted like everything was still normal. I promised her a special surprise when she got back from work. She was so excited that I would have felt bad for her if I still loved her. Instead, I felt more alive than I ever had since I found out about Seth. She practically skipped out the front door. I stayed home from work that day and spent my time packing her things. I was going to kick her out. Legally, I couldn't remove her from the house, but I didn't care. I couldn't live another day with her, and I wasn't going to leave. I wasn't the one who was cheating, and the idea of her bringing Seth in there made me feel sick. She was going to leave this house, and I didn't care if I had to blackmail her to do it. When she got back home, there was a jewelry box waiting for her on the coffee table. She squealed when she saw it and ran to throw her arms around me. I stood still and kept my arms by my side. She didn't notice my stiff reaction, or she was too excited to care. She was too busy thinking about the jewelry I got her. I wish I'd filmed her reaction when she opened the box. There was no necklace inside, just a keychain with no chain on it. She stared at it for a moment and then turned to look at me. She looked confused, like it was a bad joke. She forced a laugh and asked if it was a prank. I shook my head and said it was for her new place. She looked even more confused now. I explained that she wasn't going to live in our home anymore, and she'd need a new keychain once she gave her keys back to me. She kept staring at me, then asked why she would give her keys back. There was a hint of tears in her voice already. I knew she was picking up on where the conversation was heading. I calmly told her that I knew about Seth. I'd seen the messages, the nudes, and the hotel plans. She opened her mouth, and I quickly mentioned that there was no point playing dumb or trying to deny it. I had photos of everything taken right from her phone. It was hard evidence. She closed her mouth. I waited for her to say something, but she just stood there, clutching the jewelry box. Then she put it down and slowly sat on the couch. She was on the verge of tears while she tried to explain that nothing had happened between them. She was just having a bit of fun and she got carried away. I said it didn't matter. No matter how she tried to paint it, she'd cheated on me. The only thing that had stopped her from sleeping with him was geography, and they'd been making plans to get around that. I wasn't going to let her try to pass this off as some minor slip-up. She said she knew she messed up, but she felt like the fact that she hadn't slept with him was a blessing. She said she had a problem, and she was sure she could fix it with therapy. She begged me to give her another chance. She said it wasn't too late for us, but we could only repair our relationship if we didn't separate over this. I told her I wasn't interested in separating or repairing anything. We were getting a divorce. The paperwork was already prepared, and she would be served the next day. She looked at me like she didn't understand a word I was saying. "You mean you've already filed?" I just nodded, and that's when she flipped. She started crying, but she was angry too. She kept asking how I could do this to her, and said I threw away our marriage over some messages. I didn't let her words get to me. I knew she was just trying to deflect blame because she didn't want to deal with the guilt. She said I'd always wanted a divorce, and I was just using this as an excuse to get what I wanted. If I really loved her, I wouldn't give up on our relationship so easily. I told her I did love her, or at least I had before. I even told her why I'd gone through her phone in the first place, to get her the necklace she wanted as an anniversary gift. When she saw she couldn't guilt me, she tried to bargain. She swore to delete all her social media and brought up therapy again. I turned it all down. There was no fixing this. All she could do was leave the house. She refused to move out at first, and she started crying all over again when she realized I had packed up all of her things. That was another long argument, but I warned her that living together would be uncomfortable for her. I would ignore her completely, no interaction and no communication between us. She agreed to leave the next day once I promised to show her messages to her friends and family if she didn't. She cried and whined about it, but she followed through. She was served the next day while she was at work. She told me about it when she got back to pick up her things. She said she'd never been so embarrassed. I shrugged and didn't offer my sympathy. When she left, I got to work on making sure her family and her mutual friends knew what had happened. It was a simple message, just a notification that we were getting a divorce and a brief explanation of why. I didn't include screenshots, just the facts. Mary was flirting with a man on Instagram, and they were planning on visiting a hotel together. I couldn't stay married to her after that. I wasn't surprised to see a few people make the same excuse some Redditors made for her. Two of her close friends and her mother both asked if she'd actually slept with him before I filed for divorce. I didn't care to argue with them about what the real cheating was. I just admitted that she hadn't, then told them that I wasn't going to wait for her to give me an STD before I left her. Her friends didn't reply, but her mom had more to say. She got mad at me for disrespecting her daughter like that and demanding an apology. I told her that I had a gallery full of messages and explicit photos that her daughter had sent to Seth that showed that the only person disrespecting Mary was herself. I blocked her mom after that, but I couldn't resist leaving her with a parting shot. Based on how easily you defend infidelity, I can see where she gets it from. That set off some fireworks in her family. I ended up drowning in calls from Mary and what I assumed was her mother borrowing other people's phone numbers. I never found out for sure because I didn't bother answering any of them. I just ignored them at first, thinking they'd eventually give up when they were bored. When that didn't sort things out, I sent Mary screenshots of all the calls I'd received from them and told her I would report them to the police for harassment. That put an end to everything right away. The divorce was anticlimactic. I'd done my due diligence in protecting myself, and we didn't have any kids. It was mostly just a bunch of paperwork and splitting things down the middle. I didn't like the fact that she got to walk away with anything after cheating on me, but I was just grateful that I didn't come out of it financially ruined. What really surprised me is that Mary tried to reach out a few times after the divorce. Most of the texts came late that night, and I had to assume that she was drunk when she sent them. She sent long apologetic paragraphs and voice recordings of her sobbing and asking for another chance. When she sent a nude video of herself, I had to block her number. I don't know what she thought it would accomplish. Maybe she thought she could seduce me back into a relationship with her. I'll never find out because I don't plan to talk to her again. Blocking her felt like the final step in putting my failed marriage behind me. It wasn't out of anger. It was just about self-respect and doing what was right for me. There was nothing left to salvage between us. The time to fix things would have been before she gave herself to another man. It didn't matter whether it was physical or emotional. Looking back, I'm glad I didn't hesitate to put an end to my marriage. I'm glad I didn't listen to people who told me to wait and see or give her another chance. Waiting would have just meant more lies and disrespect. The damage in the end would have been greater, and most of it would have fallen on me. Moving on was easier without her and her toxic friends and family breathing down my neck, trying to make me feel like the bad guy for her mistakes and making excuses for her at every corner. Without them, I could forget about the old part of my life and move on to a future without them. And one last thing. It's easy to think emotional cheating isn't a real thing, but if you've ever cared about someone, you'll know it hurts just as bad as physical cheating. If your significant other is giving themselves to someone else emotionally, just know that it's completely valid to draw the line right there and then. Screw what anyone else thinks. At this point, anyone still arguing no cheating happened is being willfully obtuse. Emotional cheating isn't a gray area when it includes sexting, nudes, and actively planning hotel stays. It's not a misunderstanding. You're not obligated to protect the feelings of someone who was perfectly comfortable betraying you in secret while benefiting from your trust. Blocking her afterward wasn't spiteful, it was necessary. Late night apologies, drunk texts, and desperation nudes aren't remorse. They're panic at losing control. You didn't owe her access to you once the marriage was over? You're right about one thing that matters most. Waiting would not have fixed anything. It would have just taught her that she could betray you and still keep you. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.